Welcome back to Maintenance Made on a Budget. Today we're going to be changing the rear disc brakes on a 2010 Hyundai Sonota. But really this video can be used for just a general know how to change rear brakes. Now, older model cars may have rear drum brakes, which would be a rotor, but a drum that slides over that. And that one is a little more complicated to do and would definitely require a different video. But these are disc brakes, and most of your newer model cars from the 2000s and up have front disc brakes and rear disc brakes. So your front would look the same. You can even use this as a kind of a guide for how to do front brakes. But for this particular application, it's a 2010 Hyundai Sonota. So these are the rear brakes. So you'll have the drum here, the rotor here, and then your brake pads are inside this clamp. You'll have two screws, which are, I believe, 14 millimeter. I'll double check in a minute. But you'll have one on the top and then one on the bottom. Okay? And what that does is slide this clamp out. So once you remove those top and bottom bolts, this whole clamp will come off, and the brake pads you'll see are right here. Why are we changing them today? Driver reported a grinding noise. So anytime you start hearing or feeling a grinding, you definitely got to get these suckers checked. The rotor itself probably could be resurfaced. However, I don't have the tool to measure the thickness of the rotor. Usually they do that by measuring it. When you see a lot of these grooves and lines, yeah, and how polished off it is, yeah, we're probably going to have to get it resurfaced. But for what we're showing and doing today, we're just going to be doing the replacement of brake pads. You know, it'll definitely get you by, but you're definitely going to want to get it checked by a professional. Because what they'll do is they'll measure it. If it's still within measurements, they'll take this off and put it on a machine that basically just scratches everything up, almost like a sanding, but gets the whole surface nice and roughed up so that you have a better contact between this and the actual brake pad when it's applied. So tools you're going to need for this, if you're doing this model car, the socket, it should be a 14 millimeter for those two. You'll need a C-clamp of some type. And the reason for this is what I'm going to do after we pull this off. There's a little caliper inside of here that we're going to clamp all the way closed. And what that's going to do is force the brake fluid back up the hose through the line. And doing that, I don't have to bleed anything off. Just press it down so that when you put the new pads, it's easier to go in, and you'll see why. The new pads are going to be much thicker than what we're probably going to pull off here. So we'll go ahead and get started. You want to help me out here, sir? If you can just hold it in like that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can I sit down?
Okay. So, and oh, by the way, I'm using Duramax brake pads. And when you buy brake pads, I wanted to show you, if you can look down here, they do not come with the silicone anymore. So you'll need to buy a separate packet. If you have silicone at home, you can certainly use it, but you need to make sure you buy it. It's like an extra $1 or $2 at the, I think we got this at AutoZone.
Yeah.
Okay, so lefty loosey, make sure my ratchet is in the, okay, and we'll start with the top one. Make sure it gets loose. Then I'll come down to the bottom one, which is down here. Okay, break that loose. It's not, they should never be tight or torqued crazy. Now, I don't have the torque specifications on me for when you retorque them, but it shouldn't be anything more than 15 foot-pounds of torque to 20 foot-pounds of torque, somewhere around there, maybe 10 to 20. You must check and verify your own vehicle torque specifications. Two, we'll remove those, and then should just slide off like that. Now, the reason you need the clamp is because here is the caliper. So every time you push your brake pedal, this will be forced out and pushes the brakes together, which stops your vehicle. So every time the vehicle is sitting like that, it's usually all the way extended out. We need to push that back down, so when I put the new brake pads in, it slides over it nice and easy. The way you do that is you grab a clamp. Now you can do, the best way to do this would probably be get a little flat piece of wood or something that you can put on top and then just clamp it. I don't have that, so I'm just gonna do this. It doesn't take much effort, so you just wanna make sure that the bottom is on there like that, and then you could just, you know, and then just twist it down. And as you can see, if you're looking here, so you can see, are we looking here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna push it down. You can see it going down, right? Yeah? Talk to me, camera guy.
I need to zoom in.
Okay.
I'm pretty far away.
All right, can you see that?
Yep, we can see it.
There we go. So that is all the way pushed down. And then you just set it aside carefully so that you don't bend. Oh, came off. Should be okay now.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I had to redo it because it kind of fell apart on me. But anyway, the point is that we want to make sure this stays flush. And then you're just going to set it to the side, out of the way. And what I was trying to get at is don't pinch your hose here. Now we'll remove the old brake pads. I'll do the front one first. And as you can see, kind of. Okay, so now we're going to remove the brake pad. So it may help to have a little flat tip screwdriver or something available just to kind of help. But as you'll see, the pads have like a tongue here that goes in the grooves here. So anyway, there's your old pad. And try to fix this light a little bit better. But as you can see, that's bad. Here is the pad, and it's almost to the middle. As you can see, this is the middle and the back part. The bottom part is the pad here. Definitely bad. And you'll really see the difference when you compare it to a new one. Look at that meat. That is all brake pad here compared to our old one. So they're bad. They're definitely needing to be replaced. Let me get my thumb out of the way there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're putting on a new one, you just line up the tongue and groove, right? And you'll have, let's see.
This.
Now, one thing you could do, and I think I might do, let me see. Yeah. If you have brake cleaner available, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just spray the rotor off. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now before we get started. If you don't have it, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But I have brake cleaner. What I'm going to do is just spray the rotor here and make sure it dries. And then I'll put the new one in. Okay, fortunately, I thought I had some brake cleaner, but I don't. Anyway, it's quite all right. So we're going to go ahead and put the new brake pad on. So you just line up like that. And as you can see here, I don't know if you can see that, it lines up in the little slots there. Now, one of the most important things you could do when we're changing out brakes is you want to put the silicone on the back part of the brake pad. And what that does is help muffle the noise. If you don't do this, you may hear some squeaking and squealing when you take off. And you might think to yourself, what the heck's going on? I just put new brake pads on there and it's still making all... Well, this helps muffle that. So as long as you put this grease right on the back part, it'll muffle any noises. Because you're always going to have dirt between this rotor and that brake pad. Dirt that gets caught up in between those two is what makes that squeaky noise. Now, like I said, in this case, the driver said that the pad was already making a grinding noise. And as you can see here, it was already probably starting to grind right there at that side where it's all worn down here. Yeah. So if they would have continued to use this, it would eventually wear out the pad, and you'll have metal here to metal here. And that's, the whole thing will need to be replaced for sure if you let that happen. All right, and then so the bottom we'll go ahead and pull out now. Now the bottom pad, or I'm sorry, the back pad has a little tab on the back that you can sometimes use, but I'm just gonna go with just kind of work it out like that. So the way you can tell between the front or the back on this particular model is the back has this little tab on the bottom, which is designed so for you could, it's supposed to be where you can just grab it and pop it out, but anyway, this one's the one that goes in the back. And we take a quick look at these. Oh yeah, that's really bad, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the other one.
Take the new one. And when you're handling these, try your best not to touch the pad. Anything, you can see how dirty my gloves are. Anything you get on top of the pad is going to make contact directly. Just do the best you can. We're not professionals here, obviously. Okay, so we'll slide that one in. Okay. 5%. All right. And then I'm going to put the silicone on that. Don't do anything yet. Use it all up. You can see I'm just kind of rubbing it around the best I can. Okay. And now we'll slide the caliper back on. And as you can see here, you just simply break it off, move it. Okay. And you can see that it's all the way pushed in, so it should be able to just slide right over with no issues, and voila, voila. Okay, nice and easy. We'll take this top one, line it up. Start the threading with your fingers till it gets tight. Now, like I said, the torque on this, you need to look up your own individual torques. I'm not even going to cover them. I'll be honest, I don't have a torque wrench handy, so I'm just going to do it nice and snug. And what do I mean by that? Here. So when it stops, when it's all the way tight, that's it. Nice and snug. And then the same thing for the bottom. You definitely don't want to over torque it and break the bolt, because then you're in big trouble. Okay, and that's it. Like I said, if you were concerned about torquing it, as you should be, you know, look up your own vehicle and figure out what your own torque specifications are. Shouldn't be anything more than 20 foot-pounds of torque. Then your lug nuts, you simply put your tire back on, lug it up, make sure you torque down your lug nuts to the specified torque that's required, and you're off and running. When you get ready to start the engine, you may just have to tap the brake once, maybe twice, because you've moved the fluid back up and now it's going to be pumped back down. All right, but anyway, that's how you change brake pads on rear disc brakes. This one was a 2010 Hyundai Sonota. And like I was just wrapping up with, make sure you check your torque specifications for the tire and the clamp assembly. If you like my videos and you feel this helped you, please hit the like button and subscribe. Leave any comments down below. Thanks, guys, and hopefully this helped. We'll talk to you again next time. Take care.